Welcome back to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. Right now, we are about to go across the border. We're going to be talking about Afghanistan. I bet you forgot there is a country called Afghanistan. I bet you probably forgot there is a regime called the Taliban. Let me start. My guest today is Parasto Hakim. She is the founder of Srak Association, which is an underground homeschool and online university across Afghanistan. She's joining me from Brussels, not Afghanistan, and you'll learn why later on. Parasto started the schools in September 2021, and now she has more than 2,000 girls who can't go to school anymore in 14 schools in different provinces of Afghanistan. 255 women in second chance literacy programs, and one online university with more than 700 girls. Parasto advocates for the rights of children in Afghanistan and believes not only girls but boys are also victims of the Taliban. The world needs to provide facilities for children to learn far from politics, gender apartheid, and getting targeted and censored. Parasto, welcome to Borderlines. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me.
It is our pleasure. Thank you for joining us all the way in Nigeria. Let's talk about Afghanistan. The Afghanistan before the Taliban. The Afghanistan that had General Mohammed Dawood, who made it possible for girls to go to school and university. Because when most people think about Afghanistan, they seem to think it's always been like this. It's always been about the Taliban. It's always been anti-this. It's always been this really sort of difficult society. Talk to us about that Afghanistan, the Afghanistan before 9/11.
Thank you so much for bringing back Afghanistan to the topic. Thank you for speaking about it today. And I would like to pass regards to everyone who is seeing and listening us today. And Afghanistan before the Taliban were having a very bright days and nights with us. We were so happy. We were going every day to the schools. We were going to the universities. Women were inside the country, were having small businesses. They were independent. We were reading about democracy. We were reading about human rights. We were gathering in cafes. We were making communities to speak about what is going on in the world, how the freedom looks like, and we had all necessarily, we can't say it was the Taliban who were making the fights and the stuff that was going on. But apart from that, we had a very beautiful life in that country, which was really apart from whatever they are trying to portray in the news so that they can show that the Taliban are better today, unfortunately, which is not the truth. Yesterday, you might have seen there is a big press that it might not be good to name them. They have wrote about Sirajuddin Haqqani, who have killed dozens of our friends inside the universities, inside the schools, inside the child laborers. They have killed women while they were giving birth in 2020. They were killing us inside the educational institutes just because of their ideologies that women should not be independent and they should not be educated because they do not see women as human beings. So that is what we call gender apartheid. Since the Taliban have came in 2021, they have put it more than 70 rules and regulations on women to ban them from having any kind of access to a life as a human being. We are even deprived from our very basic rights. But the world today, they are trying to show the terrorists, the heroes, and they are not even ready to say that in Afghanistan, gender apartheid is going on against the women in Afghanistan.
And that is the thing. And that's the thing. The world is so silent on that. What is that silence about? It's a question that I had further down, but I think we might as well talk about it now. What is that silence about? Why is it okay for instance, in Nigeria, we had, bring back our girls. And Michelle Obama, she held it up. And, all of them, all the celebrities in America held it up. But here we are. America left Afghanistan in a mess. Okay. And since then, the Taliban is literally weaponizing the women, the girls, almost as a way to get back at the West, saying, you educated them, we're going to make sure they're no longer educated, right? Yet the same Obamas, America, all of them, all these people that held up Bring Back Our Girls are not saying anything about what's going on in Afghanistan, when the same Taliban has said girls are no longer to be educated. Girls are now illegal in Afghanistan. Why? What's going on?
Yes, I left in my country in 2023, so it's been like it's been like 1 year that I am away from the girls. But this question that you have asked from me today, every day I was facing this question from the girls. But they were not only asking about America or United States, they were asking about all the feminist movements. Why are women silent on that? They were asking me about all those Islamic countries in the world. Why are they silent and they are not speaking up that, excuse me, Taliban, this is not in our religion. Why are you putting things by the name of Islam just because of the ideology that you have in your head and you hate women? Please do not make it as an Islamic. No Islamic country till today has spoken about this to say Mr. Taliban, stop it. It is not in our religion. No one. This silence is a very big question in our head. Yes, we don't expect anything from United States and international community, but we do expect from the big feminist organizations and movements that they are tilted silent on the matter of Afghanistan, as you said, like Michelle Obama and too many other women and the Islamic countries in the world. One day after the Taliban have put the rules and regulations, the last rules and regulations on women, that they should be banned on speaking in public, even their voice. The last thing that a woman had in Afghanistan was her voice. The Taliban has banned it recently. One day after that, the Taliban's representative was invited for the Islamic summit. I bet nobody told them that. Why are you doing that? But everybody, the men, are coming and saying that at least it is peace. Excuse me, what do you expect? Do you want the Taliban to blow themselves up? Now there is nobody to fight with them. Who they should fight with? It is them in power. You give the country to the terrorists. The people whose names are in the websites of FBI, they are traveling very freely. The United Nations is shut on that. The hunger is at its peak. The women, oh my goodness, the women are not even allowed to speak inside their households. But yet no country is trying to speak about this, that to at least recognize that, yes, gender apartheid is going on in the country. And so many women that they are speaking up on behalf of the women inside the country, they are being shot by the world and the international community. There is no platform as much as we had before for Afghan women to come and speak about what is going on inside the country. But yet there are so many platforms that they are speaking on behalf of the Taliban to make them as heroes.
Yeah.
Right now, no journalist is allowed to go to Afghanistan. No journalist is allowed to go and make any report on the situation of women and girls inside the country. The extremism is going to come one day to the Europe. It's going to come to Africa. It's going to go to the West. But nobody is really ready to talk about it. Today, we had another report, very fresh one, that most countries like Germany is pressuring the embassies inside their countries, Afghan embassies inside the countries, that either they have to close the embassy, either they have to negotiate with the Taliban and accept the Taliban as a regime. So, okay, Germany, you are not aware that you are going to allow Taliban to come to the Europe. And whatever happens with their extremist ideology that they are doing in Afghanistan, it is going to happen here.
Of course.
But in the same time, they are deporting immigrants from their country. So we immigrated from our country because we had to flee the threats that we were facing in Afghanistan. And you are asking the Taliban to come here. So the question that you asked, it is with us as well. Every day we are asking on this, that you left the country in a mess, in the hands of the terrorists, and you left behind all those people that you have told them about human rights and democracy. But in your actions, you showed that you are against human rights.
It is really quite shocking. And, I don't know whether you'll agree to this, but there appears to be a demonization, not just of Islam, but
yes.
Now it has been extended because of that demonization of Islam. It is now being used as an excuse to look away when harm is happening to Islamic women. And then
yes.
there's a how do you say it? There's a perception being that has been created that, like you said, Islam doesn't allow women to be educated. Let me read this to you. There's a site, and I want my listeners, I'd like you to go to this site. It's called Great Women Scholars of Islamic History. And I'm going to read this part. Throughout history, Muslim women have always made their mark. From the blessed women praised in the Holy Quran to the bravery and learnedness of the female companions of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From the bright scholars and inventors of the Islamic Golden Age to the fierce women today looking to create change in their local communities. Great women in Islam come from a diversity of roles, backgrounds, and experiences. And, it goes on from science to literature to mathematics, history, etc. You have the likes of, Fatima al-Fihiri, you have al-Iliya al-Astrolabi. The list goes on and on and on. And it's so sad because my favorite is actually not coming to me now. And there's a quote of hers that I usually like. I should have checked it before I interviewed you. So tell me, why is that perception necessary? Why create the perception that Islam doesn't allow women to be educated? Not just the perception, the violence that's been done by the Taliban, because let's call it, when you deny anybody education, it is psychological violence, but also by the West. Why is that? What does it serve?
I think the Taliban are mentally ill, and the reason behind this is here that most of the leaders of the Taliban have been educated in extremist madrasas around, like in the borders of Afghanistan, and they have never seen a woman until they were like 20 years old, 40 years old. And when they came out of this madrasas and this place, now they see women, and then they are like, oh, what a beautiful creature is that. I have to stay away from that. So I guess this is the only thing that I am putting on it, because there might be no other logic behind the way that they're behaving with women. So I think a mind of a destroyer can never see beauty in any way. So that is why I think they do not want to see anyone around themselves so that they cannot have a different idea as they were given. That is why they are having extremist madrasas. By madrasas, I understand that I don't want to be like Muslim countries to slam everything all the way together, but I'm saying that there is madrasas, Islamic madrasas, and there is Talibani madrasas. So this is what I'm talking about is the Talibani madrasas, which is only the extremism madrasas, which as you said, I think that Afghan young boy children are not safe in there. The Taliban are trying to teach them about extremism, the same ideology that they have, so that they can hate women. They think about destroying stuff. They are not peaceful, and they are going to be mentally ill as the Taliban are.
Yes. So, but it's interesting that you mentioned boys. So a family has boys and girls. How does that relation happen within the house? If women are not even allowed to speak in the home.
Yes. So It's a very big topic. We have had a research on this one. The Taliban are paying 150 Afghani for every boy child, who is coming to these Talibani madrasas. And also, in the same time, the Taliban are not allowing the women to go to work. And also the men of the household, the father of the child, he have also, like, because he was working in the previous government, now they have been replaced by the Taliban militia. So of course they have to give something to their militias as well to keep them with themselves, because that is what makes the Taliban powerful, the militia. And then, so if I am a father, I have been fired from my job because I was working with the previous government. My wife cannot work. My daughter cannot go out of the house. So the only person who can bring some money to the house so that I can feed my children is my child, boy, so that he can go to the madrasa and they can have 150 Afghani per day, which can make one day full meal for yourself. So they are sending their children to the madrasas, not thinking about what this kid is going to be in the future.
Yeah. So it's a case of survival.
Yes, exactly. It's the case of survival, but in the same time, it is like a ticking bomb. The guy is a ticking bomb. And when he's coming back from those madrasas, he feels that it is whatever the Taliban are saying is right. The way that they, at the first, they will try to change your mind about yourself. They will try to talk about your outfit. They will talk about not listening to music. They will talk about banning any kind of arts. They will, at the end, they will say, like, okay, women have to be at their home because of, they are calling women half Muslim because of the period on monthly basis that they are getting. That is why they do not feel that they are also holy people. They are also human beings. They feel that they are half of a man because the way they are, like women have been shaped, they are not able to do worship as much as they do.
Right.
So on those ways, they are using the same thing, that's biological situation of women, to slam them and put them in the corner and say, like, you're half of me. Even your worship is not enough. You're not doing as much worship as I do, so I am better than you.
Yeah.
It is the same situation that before Muhammad, peace be upon him, it was happening with the Ummah of Islam. Now the Taliban are trying to do the same situation, but they are calling them an Islam, which is, of course, I think it's just the usage of Islam and the verses and everything to do whatever they are not comfortable with. But and the worst thing is here that many Taliban members, they are doing, like, they are having children as their sexual slaves.
Yes, and that's where I was going to go to talk to us. There's a book that I'm about to read called The Female Fear Factory. And it's, pretty much that's what you've described to us. The fact that, women are forced into a place of fear and a fearful existence.
Yes.
Children. When I say children, I mean girls. Girls being taken into marriage in Afghanistan. But girls as young as how old?
Like 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, and until 17 and onwards.
And this is obviously permitted by law?
By the law of the Taliban, yes.
Are there such things as honor killings within families?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So again, if it's also again a very big one, but I'm trying to summarize it. So you might have seen some reports that because of the hunger cycle and the dire situation of hungriness in Afghanistan, you might have seen the reports of WFP World Food Program in Afghanistan as well, which is stating, I quote, it's like if Afghanistan were 100 people, 45 of them would not know where their next meal is coming from. So in this situation, what are the family in rural areas do? They have daughters. They are selling them for from $100 to $1,000, so that they can have some meal for the rest of the families. For example, their mothers, their wives, their children, the other children, the smaller ones. They are selling them. So the age of girls are starting from 12. They are either even from 6. So they are selling them now until she become like 12 or 14, so that they can get married to those men. And the men are not like, they don't care what is the age of the man that they are buying the girl. So because of this situation, women have to get married, because it's also a pressure from the family side emotionally that, okay, if you don't get married, the other family members will not have anything. My father is also not working, because the father is fired by the Taliban, because the Taliban have replaced him in the administrative work or office that he was working. And the mother is also, of course, not allowed to even speak inside her household, because it's according to the Taliban, it's forbidden. She might even go to the jail. So what are they doing? The girl is happy with that, because she's sacrificing herself, because she doesn't have any other motive. She's not going to school. She is not going to university. She's not allowed to go to work. She has no future. She doesn't even have a voice. So what she's doing, she's full of emotional blackmail, and she has to be okay with that. And then she's getting married at 12 years old, 13 or 14 or 17 even. And then because we don't have the doctors, she has to give birth at home. And then she might lose her life.
And what if she gives birth to a girl?
Yes, exactly. There was a report. I am not 100% sure about that. Maybe I'm not quoting it rightly, but they say like from every 3 mothers, one of them are dying because of this period of delivering the baby at home, because women are not allowed to be doctors in the hospitals in rural areas as well. So the situation for women in Afghanistan and girls, it is really not a humanitarian situation. And because of that, they have censored the media that they are inside the country, because of course, every Friday they are taking somebody to the jail to ask why you have reported this way. And also the international media is absolutely not allowed to go to Afghanistan. They are banned. Either they're like not giving the visa. Everybody is banned. Nobody is allowed to go to Afghanistan, because they can't control what they are going to publish. So this is the. I hope I have answered.
Yes, you have. Absolutely, you have. Let's go back to talking about your schools then. How do you get the students for your underground schools?
So back then in September 2021, it was not that much difficult as it is right now. So I found a teacher who was teaching at school before. And then I went and met her, and I said, like, she was already teaching some of her own students that they could not go to the school. They were coming to her house. So I said, like, let's expand this, ask more students to come. I will provide you with notebooks, because I was working previously. I said, like, I will be supporting you with the textbook, curriculum, notebooks, like anything you need. So she said, okay. And then me and her, we both went, and we were walking on in the community, and we were telling them that we are trying to have a very homeschool. Back then we were calling it homeschool. Can you please allow your daughter to come to our homeschool? And then they were like so happy. And the family members, especially women, it was really a very moment of heartbreak for me, because women were telling their daughters in front of us that, see, you were looking for a school, an opportunity here. The school came to our house. Go for it. I don't want you to end up like me. And then they were allowing their daughters to come. And the next week when I went to the school, I saw that women are also coming and joining the school. So I was like, I saw that we have lesser girls and more women. They are taking the space. So I said, like, okay, we have to do something with that. Then the woman came to me at the end of the class. I was also teaching there. So the women came to me at the end of the class, and they said, like, can you please make a school or class for us as well? Because everybody said their stories that they were not allowed. They have been through the same situation. They have been forced for marriage. They have been stopped from going to school, and so many different stories. And then we made a class for them. And I named them, like, we and our team, we named it as a second chance program, which is like in 1996, you couldn't go to school. And I am giving another small opportunity that I am just being a reason for that, because you asked for it. And we made the schools for it. And one of the girls who have been in 12th grade, we have hired her here because she needed to work and also study. And then she is teaching the women. So now we have more than 225 women that they are studying in our second chance program. And back then it was so easy to gather students. And other teachers were calling to me and telling me that we also have students of our own schools that they can't go to school anymore. We would like you to just provide us with some notebooks and books and maybe a little bit money to buy some stuff like carpets. We don't have chairs. We sit on the ground with carpets because we can't. We really were not financially that much stable. So. And at the same time, in the carpets, you could have more space to have more students. So in each classes, we have more than 35 girls. They were sitting, and I was receiving calls from the provinces, and it was really beautiful for me. So we were doing a very small interview and background check, and then we have activated like this 14 school that we have right now. And I want to expand that because we are working on that. I want to make more than 2,000 schools. But the point is here that it's so difficult for us to have funding because nobody wants to send and invest money to Afghanistan because they are scared of the circumstances and the banks and everything under the Taliban. But I think the main act has been done by the teachers and students themselves, because if they didn't show the bravery, I would have not been able to make it this so far. Our team would have not been able to make it this far. I have a team of 8 people that they are currently in Afghanistan and they're undergrounded. I was the only person who was like the face and I was speaking about everything, but the whole effort is going to the people that they are inside the country, the team, the teachers. We have 31 teachers, very brilliant. And all of them have been teachers inside the schools back then. They have a very brilliant background, and the students and the women that they are coming. And we now make an activity for the women so that they can have a little bit of money and they be independent and escape from forced marriage. We have made some skill building programs. For example, now the girls are able to do art projects, they are staging, they are sewing clothes inside the country, inside the secret school. They are making the small like accessories with small, and they are weaving carpets very beautifully. And the best thing is here that we are taking the machines inside the households of the girls, and the girls are the bosses of it, because we don't want anybody else to take the authority from the girls, because if the girl is having the authority, nobody will force her to share her money or force her for marriage or anything else.
Yeah.
So this is how we are maintaining this situation. And my plan for the Afghanistan after the Taliban is this, that when the Taliban just left, all those 2,000 students are going to be in the schools, they're going to be in the institutes, and they're going to be reaching all those women that today we cannot reach because of the Taliban threats.
Yeah.
So this is my plan, and we are giving them this, like we have psychological programs as well. There have been women and girls that they try to kill themselves, and we have had some psychological sessions with them, and we brought them back, and we give them this motive, this hope that tomorrow you are going to be reaching the women that we could not reach.
Yeah.
And you have to make them educated, and you can't die today because they have too many things to do, so you have to wait. This is making them feel that, okay, I have something to do.
Of course,
and
give them a sense of belonging. Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now they have a hope that there is a future for me. It's okay. Like most of them were asking me that, okay, what is the point of coming to the schools? Because we can't go to university, we can't go to offices. So I gave them that it's not going to be always. It's not going to be forever.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly. There are women. I was naming some provinces, some cities, that there are women in this city that they are waiting for you to get educated, and tomorrow when the Taliban left, you have to go and educate them, because they also want to be in your place, but they can't because we cannot reach them. So they're having this thing. But the worst part was here that before making all these facilities for them to have money, we had some beautiful girls inside this school that they were forced to get married, and they were shaving their eyebrows and their heads to look a little bit ugly, so that they can buy some time for themselves, not be forced
so nobody would want them. Gosh,
exactly.
It's incredible.
It's really heartbroken, and you see that situation, and then you see how cruelly the world leaders and the world is silent about everything. But we are so grateful from EU, because they have been speaking about gender.
I was going to ask you, really, there were 2 questions that I have actually. Firstly, you've gotten in trouble with the Taliban as a result of this school. Tell us what happened and how you were able to get out of that.
I have been receiving some calls from them, but I didn't talk them seriously because I was with myself, like as a person who was living there. I was thinking, like, why would they call me? If they want to stop me, they would come and take me because the whole country is in their hands. Why are they afraid of something? But because when I was in Afghanistan, I wanted to be a very bold voice because I wanted to show the world that we are not happy with the situation that's going on. So maybe me being a familiar face for the world, according to small documentaries and reports that we have done, maybe they were afraid of that situation. I'm not 100% sure. It's just like, it's not precise information. Then I have been attacked too many times. I have been followed too many times. And they have even came to my house for search of me. Then I have been evacuated with the help of some organizations I have been evacuated in 24 hours. Wow. Because when I left the 2 days after that, the Taliban really went to my house to arrest me. And it have been so difficult for me as well. But more than me, it was difficult for my team to not have me in Afghanistan anymore. And it was so difficult for me to tell them. So I didn't tell anybody except for one person who was managing the whole thing, because I didn't wanted my team to lose their hope and they be afraid of the operation that we are doing.
Wow. And listen, you are literally amazing. So tell us, do you get any kind of international support financially?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately not. We are unfortunately, in many cases, we have been in this situation that we were working voluntarily. And before, when I was in Afghanistan, I was working in a very good place and I was receiving very good salary. And with that salary, I was managing to run the schools. But now it's so difficult to ask for any kind of financial support for these schools.
But why? You're based in Brussels, right?
Yes.
So I'm trying to remember. There was a Malala Yousafzai, who was turned into a hero in the West, right? Why is Parasto being ignored? Is it because you're Afghanistan?
It's for the same reason that they are trying to ignore that the Taliban have not changed.
So because to recognize your work would mean to accept that there is a Taliban who is abusing, violently subjugating women. Yes, exactly. If they agree on this one, that if they agree to recognize our efforts, it's not only me. There have been so many other people, for example, like Matiullah Wisa, who have been our colleague. He have been working for 16 years for education. He have been to the jail by the Taliban, and he have just been released a few months back. Nobody has spoken about that. Yes, the European Parliament have been speaking about it constantly, but there have been no action taken to recognize his efforts. And I think it's going to the same background, to the same answer, that if they recognize our efforts, they have to recognize that gender apartheid is going on in Afghanistan. They have to recognize that the Taliban are terrorists. They have to admit that they have did something wrong and they failed. And because that, they do not want to admit that, they do not want to feel regret, they do not want to show that they have failed. That's why they are trying to show and give time for the Taliban to change, but they are not really changing, because this is the Taliban. They will never change. Indeed. How did you get out of Afghanistan?
I left Afghanistan in March 2023.
How did you get out?
It was by the help of an organization that I might not be able to speak.
It's okay. Don't tell us. It's okay.
Because they have to help other human rights defenders inside the country.
Okay. So you were able to get out and get to Brussels?
Yes.
So that means that you were still in Afghanistan when America suddenly pulled out in 2021. Tell us about that time.
I think I have to have my napkins with me because it's so difficult even today to speak about that situation. It was the moment uh, of betrayal. It was the moment of a child. We were feeling like a child who was lost in a very crowded area, and he could not find his mother, and he or she was crying, but his voice was not coming out of nobody could hear them. It was the moment of I really cannot name it because it's really difficult to explain how we were feeling, but we were seeing that day to come, but we were trying to believe on what the world was trying to tell us, that the Taliban has changed. But shortly when the Taliban came, after their first press conference, I have figured that out, that these people will do exactly what they did in 1996. So that's why we started the secret schools. And that moment for us was like we all were dead. You know, we have experienced the death, I guess. Because we have had a life for us, we have had future for us, and that betrayal didn't only happen in 1996 and 2021 in August. It is repeatedly coming to us every day. The immigrants, Afghan immigrants who are being tortured in Iran and Pakistan, they are still going through that betrayal in 2021 by the United States and the Doha deal. The women that they are being forced for marriage, they are still going through what is 2021, the August. The women that they are dying while delivering baby because they are so young, they are still experiencing the August 2021. The women that they have to shave their eyebrows and heads looking at the mirror, they still are crying and they have the same feeling of betrayal in August 2021. The military fathers who have been killed by the Taliban after 2021 because they could not obtain any visa from the world's like very big or small countries to flee so that they can have a safe life. Their children and their widow wives are still going through the August 2021, the worst decision that the world has taken for Afghanistan, for a very big generation. You know, Afghanistan is more than 73% of Afghanistan is young generation. So imagine this 73% people have been cornered by a very small group of the terrorists that the world is trying to tell us that you have to sit with them. Why would I sit with the Taliban?
Very good
They
question.
are taking my right. They are coming to my country. They took my life and my future from me. Why should I agree on what they are telling me? They should come and ask me what I want. Why should I settle down? And the worst thing is here that after August 2021, the world has left the whole war equipment in the hands of the Taliban. And they're asking me today that why are men and women not coming to the street to
protest when they don't have anything to protest with? Absolutely, I hear you.
When the Taliban came to Afghanistan, when they took power, on the first weeks, they went to the houses, house by house, they went there and they searched and they have taken any weapons that we had. So how can a person who have to think about the water and food for their family members that he can't provide, go and think about his rights and human rights that you have made for us?
Absolutely.
It is your job and it is your lack of good decisions that I have to pay the price. But still, the women who have came to those streets of Kabul and all around the countries, they stood on those streets that NATO have left out of fear. You never prized them. You never spoke with them. You never made them heroes. And you never considered and recognized their efforts.
Their efforts, yes, indeed.
So if you didn't do that and they went to the jail and they have been killed, they have been raped, they have been experienced the worst days and nights of their life. So why would a person who, like me, is inside Afghanistan would say, like, I also want to go and do the protest? Because we know the world is trying to buy time for the Taliban. Why would I have the effort?
Absolutely. Thank you. I have, right, you can call now 0201 277 0993 0201 4657 That's the female only line. WhatsApp is 0809 597 5805 for your questions. I have a question here. Good evening to you, Cecile Gay, and your guest. My name is Tari from Lekki. This is heartbreaking, really. Really. Just listening to the treatment of people, mostly the girl child in Afghanistan. This is open air slavery. But then, can't the United Nations or powerful countries do something about all these happenings there? Because this reminds me of the Holocaust days of Hitler. Or help should just come from another place. I'll come back to you. Hold on, Parasto. Let me just answer the calls. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Yes, good afternoon. What's your name? Where you calling from? And very quickly,
my
please.
name is Sam.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, this is so pathetic. So something like this is still happening in the world. The woman child. Our presidents in other countries. Or at least so bad. So Islamic nations should fight for these people. We shouldn't blame the West much because the people have to fight Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and so on. So first of all, start and liberate the woman.
Thank you.
The woman, especially from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and so on.
Thank you very much. Thank
the
you.
West can do a little.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening. What's your name? Where you calling from? 30 seconds, very quickly.
This is Joy. Please, I want to say, this same thing happening inside the ban. Is there not the same thing happening with us here in Nigeria, like the Boko Haram?
Well, I've already mentioned, I did say that earlier. I need people to listen to the show. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
What are you doing?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's your name? Where you calling from? And 30 seconds, please.
You have Titi Lokwe on the line.
Go ahead, Titi Lokwe.
Thank you very much. I want to ask our first question. What contribution did the invasion of America in 2001 make to this,
to the situation? Yes, okay.
That's number one. The next one, what is the contribution of American invasion in 2001 after running after, Bin Laden?
Yeah.
Number two, 2021, Joe Biden made that terrible mistake. Before that time, Donald Trump was having a discussion with the Taliban in order for the former president who ran away to Dubai.
Yes, we know, yes.
Yes, if Donald Trump had won that election in 2000, does she think that this problem would not have arisen?
Okay. You cannot ask three questions, Titi Lokwe. Hello.
Hi, Cecile again.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Yes, go ahead.
To you and to your guest.
Yes.
First off, I want to commend her good work.
Mm-hmm.
She has really tried a lot. She's a heroine. I want to so commend her and for what she's been doing all this while. And I want to please tell her to be careful. They will not see her by God's grace.
Amen.
Now, we've understood the fact that what is playing out there is also playing out here in Nigeria. So, okay, how can we start changing this narrative?
Okay.
What I hear right now is so heartbreaking.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. God bless you too. Right. Parasto, you have a couple of questions there. I think perhaps start from Titi Lokwe, who has a habit of loading his questions. So I think the fundamental of that question is, do you think if Trump hadn't lost to Joe Biden, do you think that withdrawal would have happened in such an abrupt and, really heart-shattering manner?
It's so difficult for me to speak about the political situation in the United States, but I think the decision of withdrawal was already taken, and it was happening since 2014, and the negotiation with the Taliban has even started in 2007. It's like it was 7. It started, and they started to negotiate. And 2013, it was at its peak. So they already have taken their decisions. So what Trump is trying to say is not that we wanted to save Afghanistan and do not leave it in that situation. He's only very scared of the equipment that they have left in Afghanistan. He is sorry for the 13 international soldiers that they have lost to a bomb attack, to a suicide attack after the after the collapse of the regime in Afghanistan in August in 2021. A very big suicide attack happened. More Afghans were also killed, but 13 international U.S. soldiers were also killed there. So I think while Trump is trying to speak about is they wanted to prevent from that 13 people to be dead, and also the equipment of United States to be getting out of there. So maybe he would have taken a little bit time to take all the stuff out and maybe have more security there so that they could save people, but didn't change anything for Afghanistan.
Okay. I don't remember the first question. I don't know if you got it. The first question.
He said about 2001, the Taliban, when the United States came, Bin Laden, I didn't hear. I really didn't hear the question, but I don't know what he say. What was the question? I'm not sure.
I missed it too. I've since moved on. Let me read something to you. I have a message here on WhatsApp. My heart shattered hearing the kind of torture women are facing in Afghanistan because of education. Similar to what Boko Haram did in Nigeria. I'm disappointed in many Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, etc., who will put a stop to all these hypocrisy against the weak nations in the world. That's the person forgot to put their name. Let me answer another call. Be very quick, people. One question only. Hello. Yes,
okay.
Good afternoon. Your name, where you're calling from, and your question.
Sorry, I've been trying to reach you. My sister at the other end in Brussels.
Parasto. Her name is Parasto.
The whole event shaping up in Afghanistan. We've been following it right from 1980 when the Mujahideen were struggling with power when Russia occupation was there. Then the Taliban came in. The Taliban has always been so difficult. The Taliban don't want women to be educated. So please, we should get it straight. Blaming the West at this point is not going to matter because the West already have pulled out. They tried their best. America spent billions of dollars to bring Afghanistan up. But the Afghan people, the Arab people, because of their religion, they are so stick to it. They refuse to incubate the women, to bring it into women education and the right of women. That's the problem. Let the countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, let them wake up and speak against this. The whole problem is the religion. Islam is the religion. It should be redefined. A religion that segregates it should not be welcome in this.
Well, I can assure you, sir, you are wrong about Islam. Had you been listening, you cannot tell me. You cannot tell me. Right. So, those of you who have been listening to this show, this particular episode, you would have heard me read out. Part of why we need to keep having these conversations is so as to educate you out of the mindset of Western perception of othering people, of othering and weaponizing and demonizing other people's religion. I do not care which religion you are, but I do care when you call this show to spout ignorance, especially when my guest Parasto and I have read out the fact that Islam is not against women's education. Just because some terrorists choose to weaponize Islam against females does not mean Islam is against females. Kindly do the research. If you're calling to say that, kindly cut off now. Thank you. Some of them are cutting off. Hello.
Hello, Jaco.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, your name and very quickly, please.
So if Islam is not against it, what are the other nations who is against it?
Sorry, say that again, please. Sorry. Say that. It's not clear.
If Islam is not against what the Taliban is doing, making women this way, what is the other Islamic nations doing to it? This has been going on for years.
Well, my guest has answered that question. Some of you are not listening. One of the things that Parasto has said is about the paralytic, the lack of response and action from Arab countries and how she holds them responsible. One of the other things that my guest has said is that the West pulled out of Afghanistan and left the people in the hands of the Taliban. And since then, the West have been looking away, pretending that all is well in Afghanistan when clearly it is not. What is it? Can you please listen to the show? My guest, and I'm not going to let her make her answer that again. What have we got here? I've got a question here. Good evening, Ireti. The first question was, why is the West not doing anything about the Afghanistan issue? Why are Islamic nations not doing anything? She's already answered that. My question, does Afghanistan still have oil? That's a new one. Does Afghanistan have oil?
We didn't had
They've
oil.
never had
ever.
oil. Thank you. Right. Let me come back because we've only got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to put something to you.
The United States didn't invade Afghanistan because of oil. It's very different.
Thank you.
Yes,
now we're going to go back to why and when they invaded. Do you think, and we've only got, I'm going to give you what, a minute or a minute and a half to answer that. Do you think the people of Afghanistan, that is the ordinary civilians of Afghanistan, majority of whom are young people, are being surreptitiously punished for Bin Laden / 9/11?
Yes. Bin Laden was found and dead in Pakistan. He himself was from Saudi Arabia. And there is no question and there is no logical explanation that why did you came to Afghanistan for that reason. And the next thing I just want to add a parenthesis here, that if we are coming to Islam by small actions by the big actions that these small terrorist organizations are doing, so United States, yes, they were calling the Taliban the freedom fighters back then. They were giving them military lessons, and they have sent them to Afghanistan to fight with USSR back then in 90s. And also the catastrophic situation that is happening right now in Afghanistan is because of the wrong decisions that the United States made, and also whatever they have did in Qatar. So, and also with the silence of other countries, we cannot say like whatever religion and there is in the United States, that religion is bad.
Yeah.
We cannot say that whatever religion in other countries that we have, like in Germany, now they are supporting Norway, they are supporting the negotiations with the Taliban. We cannot say that, look, the religion that is going on in Norway is bad because they are promoting whatever is happening in Afghanistan. The actions of any terrorist organization or any person does not say what is going on with their religion and their hearts.
Thank you. Parasto, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you on this show, for you to educate Nigerians and our listeners in the diaspora across the world about Afghanistan. We will be having you back because this conversation has to continue until the world takes action.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope I have answered all the questions.
Yes,
for
you
everyone
have.
And you.
Yes, you have. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Have a good time.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Who says you can't have it all with one play?
I got that defined boy. You have just won yourself.
Congratulations.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Melitus. One player, don't talk to two players because you won 20K.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is Well Done.
Okay, well done. You want to tell you, well done. You won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira, you can play to win big. From 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.